Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. Good morning. Happy Monday. We hope everyone had a restful and enjoyable weekend. And we're back to it with YWTV. We've got a full week of episodes for you, prepping you right up until the Memorial Day holiday with lots of great conversations. And we're kicking a great one off today. As you know, YWTV is about educating and inspiring you. And we know that the world is opening up and slowly, and everyone's kind of getting back to it. And so many of us who are business, in the business world especially, are, jump starting and kind of getting back out on the scene. And there's so many more webinars and presentations and, marketing for your businesses that's happening. And one of the key pieces to marketing your business is having a great a marketing photo of yourself. That doesn't happen by accident. And the really great ones don't happen from your iPhone for sure. They happen by a professional being involved with that process. So we thought that it would be a great opportunity for us to talk a little bit about that kind of getting back out there and getting a new, updated, refreshed photo of yourself, and what that process is like. Because I know whenever I've had photos done, professional headshot photos, it's an anxiety-producing process. Just thinking about doing it and finding the right person to do it, and then what am I going to wear? What am I going to look like? And just feeling relaxed so that you have the best photo to be the end product of the experience. So we thought that it would, and so many of us have been through this time, and we come out of it feeling different. And so with that, it would make sense that we look a little different, that we might as well document who we are today, with our business marketing. So with that, we thought it was a great opportunity to talk with Jean Terman, who is the owner and operator of Jean Terman Photography. Welcome, Jean.
Good morning. Hi, everybody.
So happy to have you with us. Some of you may have seen that I was actually on Jean's podcast last week. We'll drop the link into the comments here for you in case you want to watch that. It was a totally different conversation.
Totally different.
Totally different conversation. But nonetheless, it will help also give you a sense of Jean and who she is, because she is so much more than a photographer. She really is someone who brings people together and, really has a talent of making people feel very, very special. Before we jump into this conversation, I would love to tell you a little bit about her. She, as I said, is the owner and photographer for Jean Terman Photography. She works really hard to capture the essence of her clients in every image and stages of their success. I am so thrilled to tell you more about her business and how she makes that magic behind the lens happen, because we know that there's magic behind the lens, because if you've seen her photos, they really have something very, very special in them. And it's not only has to do with the wonderful subjects of her photos, because of course they're all very special too, but there's what she brings to it that makes her subjects really, really shine, and glow, and really catch you in a way that when you see her photos, you know that there was a real partnership and process in making that happen. She is an award-winning portrait photographer. She candidly shares that she doesn't remember a time that she didn't see the world through the lens of her camera. She, even in her time in corporate America, she says when she was a graphic designer and a technical trainer, she still used every free moment to be continuing her photographic education and to feed her passion. And if you follow her on social media, which we have the links for you here so that you can do that, you'll see that not only does her wonderful skill set transfer to portraits, but she's out there photographing so many beautiful aspects of the world around us, and delivering them in a way that makes you want to follow her journey. So you should be following her on social media for sure. 15 years ago, she took the opportunity to leave the corporate sector and open up her own shop and her own photography business. And she really hasn't looked back. And we love, not only do we love this topic, but we love showcasing a conversation, a story about a woman-owned business and hearing her journey. So with that, welcome again, Jean Terman.
Thank you so much for having me, but that was great. I can leave. I think
you cannot leave.
That was really good.
You have so much to share, and so much so that we're not going to fit it all in the time that we have, but we will definitely get a lot of it in. But I almost don't know where to start, but let me quickly ask the question before we jump into our topic about how, for so many women-owned small businesses, we've spent so much time over this last year plus talking about how people transitioned and kind of kept vibrant during this time. What did you do? How did you do it? And, what are some of your kind of thoughts and inspiration for women-owned businesses?
Wow. In all honesty, that is such a loaded question, because I think a lot of people took this time to sort of evaluate and figure out if it was who they really wanted to be, what they were doing, and was there something else that maybe they would stretch into, or was there a way that they wanted to, I hate this word, pivot. Oh, I hate it. But maybe reimagine who they were and what they were going to do. And I will say I have so many lovely people in my world, and I was getting texts and phone calls and, maybe you could do this and maybe you could try that. And you're so good with product photography and you're so great with, why don't you do that? And I had this moment where I actually sort of did the opposite. I sort of sat in a chair one day and said, I had that life. I was in corporate America for 20 years. And I had that moment where I sort of reevaluated and said, no, my passion is working with people and doing this business. I sort of dug in. I sort of said, I was blessed having a spouse who was in a business that was still going, that, I wasn't in, and I say this, if you go back, the conversation I had with Helen, I did with people the whole year. In almost all of them, you'll hear me say I was blessed. I know I was blessed. I had an opportunity to do that and to say, I'm going to hold tight until I can get back to the thing that I love. And that is what I did. But to keep myself sane, I went back to doing landscapes, which I had done before. And I did something I had never done before. I put myself in front of the camera and I started doing my Zoomification conversations, which are live on my Facebook page, just to stay in touch with people and to help business people talk about what it meant to exist in this world and to be a part of what was going on at the moment and to keep themselves out in front of the world. Because that's what I do every day of my life, is I help people in small, mid-sized, even large businesses market themselves and look their best to the world. And I had to find a way to do that while I waited to get back to the time I could do it with my camera. So that's what I did.
Well, I was just going to say, and I think that your Zoomification platform, really one of the things I think it really did elevate and show the world about you is your warm essence, quite frankly. And I think that, when I think about you as a photographer, I know that you are a warm person, and there's something very inviting and welcoming about you as an individual. But that's so key in the process of creating a good photo. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you kind of transfer that to bring out the best in your clients when you're taking their photos?
Honestly, I hate getting my photo taken. I really do. And I really don't remember a time when I didn't have a camera, because that camera was the thing that allowed me to be a part of the world, but have that kind of separation from the world. Because nobody believes it, but I'm an introvert. So it was sort of this, like, when I was younger, it gave me that place to be. And I really get it when people walk into a room and they're vibrating because they're so nervous, because we've been in those places where we've tried something on and we've gone out and after we were done with the meeting or the wedding or whatever it was, we think, oh my God, I'm so glad no one's ever going to see that again. And the reality is when you go take a picture, especially a picture for your business, your family, whatever. Look, we've all been there when we go to grandma's house, mom's house, and that horrible photo that you couldn't stand is still on the wall. And now with social media, it's a digital wall that gets to see. They don't have to go to grandma's for Thanksgiving. So I really get why people get anxious and nervous and kind of close up in front of a camera. So to me, I trained to be a photographer. I went to school for it, and I really seriously have been training forever just to hone my skills and do what I do. And so for me, this is all my family photos. By the way, people, it really is a cobbler's children never have shoes. There's a lot more family photos on my business site. Go to my Instagram page. There's lots more business photos. But I really do understand what that means and how that feels. So for me, my process is I know what to do with my camera. It's second nature to me. So I can forget about that. I can do that in the back of my head, and my whole conscious brain is focused on the person in front of my camera. And really my job, if I do my job well, is that person in front of my camera forgets that I have a camera. Just play. I don't call it working with you. I call it play dates. People say to me, why do you always say I'm coming for a play date? And I'm like, well, come and see. You'll understand.
Well, that definitely helps take, at least start to position, or change the mindset of the person coming, from that space of anxiety when you think about it, in that kind of more fun and less formal way. It would absolutely make sense to me that, that connection and that mindset is key in great photos. So tell us a little bit, okay? I know that obviously you photograph lots of different people. And I know some of them you know well, and others of them are people that find you and connect with you. And yet all of the photos look like that there's someone that's probably been your best friend for life. I mean, that's what I think gets conveyed from that, from the end products that I've always seen between your social media site and, people who post photos that you've taken from them on social media that I've seen. So can you talk a little bit about that process? Like once they get to you so they're there for the play date now. Can you talk a little bit about, what that process is at that point?
Well, first, people are endlessly and utterly interesting. That I think is the biggest thing. They are totally and forever interesting. A really long process of sort of figuring out what these images are going to be. Some people have a really fixed focus of what, pardon the pun, of what they want their images to look like. And we step back from that. And for the people who don't, that's great. My process is beautiful for you. Because we step back and we talk about what it is that you want to convey. What's your story? Who are you? Like, what makes you who you are? What makes your business what your business is? And then how do we illustrate that effectively, whether it's your headshot or marketing images that tell your whole story, which I love doing with people, capturing them as they're working with clients. We never work with real clients. That's not fair to them. They're paying for you not to be your model. But we set up scenarios that are exactly like what would happen if someone was working with you, and people really can get that feeling. And then it really becomes a part of me getting to know that person. After we talk, when we're in front of the camera, when we're together with my camera, we talk a little bit about how my camera works, why it does what it does, why I'm using the lights that I'm using, or we're in the situations that I'm using, and why I'm going to say really stupid things to you. And yes, I will use that word, because trust me, sometimes when you were in front of my camera, you're like, what did she just say? But when I say crazy stuff, the reactions are honest. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing me honestly interested in the person in front of my camera, asking real questions about their lives and their business and who they are. Get someone to give you a really honest expression. Ask them what their hardest day was with their hardest client. And then ask them how they felt on their best day with their best client. And they stop thinking about everything else. They think, oh, I remember that day. And the expressions that you get and the feeling that gets really translated into those images. When I'm working with families, my favorite question, I can't believe I'm giving this away, but my favorite question when I'm working with families is, who's your favorite child? Because no one's supposed to have a favorite child. And every mother does exactly what you just did. They go, oh, and then they smile. They're like, well, sometimes it is Harry, and you have this whole plethora of emotions that pass across their face. And capturing that and capturing all of that inside those images, I think, is why people see themselves in the photos that I take instead of someone they thought they needed to be.
Yeah. And it's funny for me. I mean, I can't speak to obviously everyone who's in your photos, but I have recently seen some photos that you've done of people that I do know, and I feel like I know them both pretty well from the two in particular. Because of my relationship with them and how I met them, which is both through my work at the YW. And I was really struck by how you captured both, I mean, the essence of both of them. And they're two very different women, but that you captured their essence so perfectly in their photos. And so for our viewers, when we were planning this conversation, we started talking about these two photos of these two women, and thought it would be fun to invite them to join us to talk about the experience, because I really was so struck by these photos, and again, knowing them, and how beautiful the photos were, but again, how much they really got to their core. So with that, I'd like to invite our guests to join us on screen. And here's one, and here's the other joining us.
Oh, she's just showing her photo.
So what I look like, not like this, like that was a photo that Jean took of me. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So for our viewers, I want to introduce you to some two amazing women if you don't know them already. One of them, and again, there's a funny connection between the two of them, which is how I both know them, is they both have been, and one actually is currently, YWCA of Northern New Jersey board presidents. And so with that, I'd like to welcome Gretchen Lolis, who's our current board president, and Dorothy Anderson, who is a past board president. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
So I love that it's these two, because I love them both with all my heart. And they're lovely and warm and talented and crazy influential women, and they both have such very different energies and spirits, and that's what I love. That's the thing, like being able to capture that energy and capture that spirit for people who are very different. That's awesome.
Well, and again, that's what I was really struck by, these photos of these two women, because again, I know them, I've worked closely with them, side by side on on so many important initiatives, and their photos are, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, they're both beautiful women inside and out, what I know of them, but you really captured their essence. And, when we were talking about these photos, Jean, last week, one of the things we were talking about is, they both look like they came to you just like so excited to get their photo taken and loving the experience and the process about it. And I know that they both have a history of working with you too, but, we talked about how it wasn't, that they don't love having their photo taken, which you wouldn't be able to tell from looking at these photos, because both Gretchen and Dorothy look amazing in these photos, and they look like they just were born to be modeled for you. So do you want to take a minute to tell us about these sessions, and then maybe we can ask the ladies to share a little bit about what, how they got into the space of, being able to, have these great photos taken?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that I am grateful and incredibly honored every time I work with someone. But when people come back, that's when my heart just goes like, it's like, because that says something happened. Hi, Gretchen. That says something happened that worked and touched them, and they loved it. So I've worked with both of these women multiple times, and am honored every time. And it really is, when you have someone in front of your camera who walks in not necessarily thinking that the camera loves them. those are my favorite people. Because those are the people that react to okay, I'm gonna say this, it's bad, but I say it a lot. Everybody says, why do you still say you shoot people? It's really bad, right? I say it because a lot of people, when they get in front of my camera, react like it's a gun. They go, and then wonder why they don't get great photos, because they're nervous and they're scared. And it's like, and I really love working with people so that they don't feel scared. And these are accomplished, amazing women who really get that this is their business and this is what they're putting out there, and it's probably the first thing people are going to see about them. And being able to give them the ability to show the world who they really are, that is epic. And both of them, ladies, if I'm stepping over stuff, you know, you can yell at me later, and they will. Trust me, they will. They both of them have walked in front of my camera. I think the first time, especially in front of my camera, where it was like, you know. And so to be able to show them their images and have them go, oh wait, I like how I look in them. And more importantly, I think that looks like me. And I like how I look in them. Right? That I think is the caveat. When someone says, oh, that looks like me, and I like it.
So Dorothy, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about, you know, again, I know you to be, you know, you're such a strong woman. You're such a smart woman. You're also a very beautiful woman, but you're not a woman who walks around flaunting that part of yourself. You definitely can flaunt your brains. It comes out, you know, very easily when we talk to you. Yeah, she's big brains, as my son would say, big brains. But so tell us a little bit about, you know, how you know, you got to be comfortable with the aspect of modeling, you know, for your photos.
It's funny because I don't really think of it that way, to be honest with you. I met Jean probably 6-7 years ago at a networking event, and she was going around just snapping pictures. And she took my picture, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And actually, it was, at the time, the best picture I'd ever seen of myself. Mm-hmm. I wasn't one to really have my photograph taken. And I've had my photograph taken with her a few times since then, mostly going to her little, you know, networking events for a few people. It kind of makes it more comfortable because you're not by yourself there. And I don't know, I guess by now I feel like we're friends and we know each other, so I'm totally comfortable. And I go into it knowing that I'm probably going to like the pictures, and every time I like them more than I thought I would, to be honest. This time I had actually let my hair go gray, which was a scary thing. And so I wanted my photograph done again. I hadn't had it done in a couple of years, and I actually liked the way it looked, and it was amazing. I wasn't sure if I was going to. I really wasn't. And I did. I like it. And I think for me, because I'm a finance director, I always want to kind of show that that's not really the real me necessarily. I'm kind of more fun than that and more casual than that. And I want to be able to use the photographs as business photographs, which I do, on my LinkedIn as well as my other social media sites. And I feel like it's me, and it looks serious enough, but not too serious. And she knows how to capture that.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jean. I love it.
I have to say that first session, I had been brought in to do headshots for some of the people that were there. And when I saw Dot, she had walked in, she was on we were set up in a certain area, and she had worn this sheath dress that was gorgeous. Like, she's gorgeous. Sheath dress that was gorgeous, the whole thing. But she was taking off her leather jacket to come sit on the scene. So I took those photos, and then I said, but we're not done. Put the jacket back on. Because if you're a woman who's walking through the world in a, I can't swear, leather jacket, I want that back on you. And so I took her over to the bar that was empty with the leather jacket on, and I had her leaning on the bar with this. It is honestly one of my favorite photos to this day. And it was so her. It was just like, I own this world. Have a nice day.
It was fun. It wasn't like having your picture taken. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. Now, Gretchen, who's a totally, again, different personality, fully, I mean, also big brain, as my son would say, but totally different personality and totally different career, and different, world, and probably uses her photos a little differently, than Dorothy. But, Gretchen, I know that you're like a life of the party person for sure. You have such a light spirit, but I don't know you either as someone though who like you always love to be in a group, and like a life of a party in a group. But I don't know you as someone who loves to be like singled out for attention. But your photos again make you look like a runway model too.
Oh my gosh! Well, I have to tell you, I changed my careers 5 years ago, so I had to like get some beautiful headshots taken, and that's always been horrendous for me because it's, I don't know, you don't always like the way you look anyway. So I met Jean through a networking, and I had went to one of her headshot parties, which was great, and I was just like, what am I doing? I'm drinking wine. All right, I'll take my photo. And I was just stunned when I saw what she did, because I didn't even realize, because I wasn't taking it that serious. And she really pulled out of me, which I hope I look. So since then, in those like 5 years, I've had, I joined a team. And so we had other photographers take pictures, and those people just didn't catch me the way she does or pull it out of me. So I'm just always so grateful. In these last pictures that she's taken of me, I was just like, oh my God, is that really me? That's how I feel. I'm so glad, you can get that on print, because sometimes you get pictures taken in your like mid talk or your chin, and but she guides you, and all the while we're talking like girlfriends, and she's telling me about how amazing her son is doing, and she's always asking about my daughter, and we have lots of laughs during the whole thing, and it doesn't even end up taking a long time. I don't know, and she shows me what she gets. I'm like, how'd you do that? And she's really good at like picking out the outfit that because you bring all these clothes and you're like, well, I like this. She goes, okay, well, we'll take that, but this is what's going to really work.
Yeah,
this is the outfit that's going to work.
I'm glad you said that, but I also want to say I love what you said, and I think Dorothy said it too. Is that she really she captured you. She really captured you. And although you both do look like models, more importantly, you both just look like fierce, strong, versions of. Of yourself and strong women, which I love and really comes across. But so let's talk about the process. I mean, obviously you talked about your anxiety and how she quelled you and calmed you, and then that relationship over time, has even only made it better, for the experience. How did you pick because you both look amazing in your outfits and what you have on your various photos that we've just been looking at. How did you pick what you were wearing?
Do you want to go, Dot?
Sure. Actually, I have another friend who she is a personal shopper slash, fashion person, and I had my colors done with her for fun. And so I kind of knew good colors, which, I sort of did anyway, because, you look at yourself and you kind of know what looks good on you, but to have her actually emphasize it. So I took things that I thought were going to look good. And a couple of them were misses, just based on how they fit me and all that kind of stuff. So Jean was pretty helpful at, throwing away a couple of things that I took with me. But
that's true.
Every once in a while, I'm a little vicious. Nope, we're not wearing that. Nope.
I didn't want to look too serious business. So that was why I had the denim jacket, and I had the leather look type pants on and everything. I kind of wanted that look. So I went with it.
Right.
That's great.
My choices were not my own. It was for like a specific headshot shoot that was going to be used, and it was the direction was given from like a marketing director on our team. So I really didn't have that much leeway what I was going to wear. So I would love to do like more of a fashion shoot with Jean sometime. But but so I brought the blazer, the black shirt, whatever, and I put it all together. We mix it all up, and she's like, well, the one that's going to look the best is the black shirt. I'm like, really? Well, I need one with the blazer. And so I had a black blazer and a black shirt. I mean, you see one of these pictures, you guys, I didn't realize how low my black tank top was. And it's super telling because, now they're talking about on the news, like how these yearbook pictures are being, redone for modesty, but she actually had to bring up my shirt like 4 inches. So, I mean, she's magic with photoshopping too. But yeah, so she's like, anyway, she just knows what to do and what looks good. And another thing, I was directed by our marketing director, do not do the traditional cross your arms, photo realtor shot. And she's like, oh, just do it. And it turned out to be the one I can't use for my team shots, but it's my favorite picture. So I use it on all my other social media. So I don't know. She just pulls the best out of me. She gets the best out of me. And I really super appreciate that. And I'm just getting chills because I just love Jean as a human and as a photographer. And I think that, she just does such an amazing job.
So I heard you both talk about that you're using your photos for work. And I know I end up using photos a lot for if I'm speaking somewhere that they get kind of dropped in. But I heard you talk about using them on LinkedIn and social media. Sometimes people think they don't need a professional photo. They think that they, can just, plop in something that they took, from their trusty iPhone, or that their, friends took of them when they were out for the weekend and they were dressed up nice. What are some of your thoughts about that as, professional women, and why the headshot and the formal headshots are so important?
Well, I know our firm, we constantly check social media when we hire, and I think a lot of people are doing that now. That's what people see of you, is your social media. So I think it's important that you're careful what's out there and that you want to be looking at, the person that you are. You want people to see you at your best.
At your best.
And I don't think you're going to be at your best unless you have a professional like Jean take your pictures.
Right. I completely agree. And I like what Dorothy said, that, she let her hair go gray. And so she wanted her photos online to match what she looks like now. And I think that is so important. And that leads to being authentic and being your authentic self. When I get my pictures done, I used to go get my makeup done and get the false lashes and, get really zhuzhed up. But that is not me, so I just do my basic makeup. Maybe I put on a little bit more mascara and darker lipstick, because Jean always tells me I have to put on darker lipstick. You can't see. I don't, to make your picture look better, but still authentic. So I think that, to me, that's super important, to look authentic and to look fresh and beautiful. And I think it's really important, if you're putting yourself out there in a business way, that you need to have a decent picture and not a selfie as leading your social media introduction to your business.
Yeah, and I think it's great what you two both just said too. And Jean, I'd love for you to weigh in on this, the importance of kind of updating your photo, right? Because there's nothing, Dorothy just mentioned how a lot of companies are using it when they're hiring people. And, we've all had the experience where you're scrolling through someone's social media feed and you're seeing a photo of them that's maybe 20 years old, but they're using it as if it were a present day photo for something. And you're like, not really what they look like anymore. But what I love about the photos you've done of these ladies, because I've seen them over the years, and I've seen them with other, Michelle Brown's another one, people that, I know a lot through work, as look, we're all each year getting older, but the photos are just really touching again your essence and who your best self is, at that moment. And I think that that's important.
I really believe with all my heart and soul that when you're putting yourself out there, owning who you are is what matters. Because if you are trying to sell a product, like it or not, it's your business, right? You're selling you. So if you're trying to sell something that doesn't exist, when the people meet you, when they're working with you, it's the first bait and switch that you've given them, right? And so they walk in and they're like, who? And they might not react that way, visibly, but subconsciously they're going, really? Was that your sister? Or you're like, what? So it's really important that, and when I talk to people and they ask me, what should I look like? What should I wear? How should I do my makeup? It's the same answer every time. I want you on your best day with your best client. I don't want you going to the bar mitzvah or the wedding or your wedding or a night out on the town or that, unless that's your business, don't show up that way, because that's not the person that your clients meet. So give them you on your best day, and let's have fun showing you to the world so that people really get a feeling for who you are and who they're going to meet. And that is such a great handshake. Look, we're in a world where we don't shake hands, but that handshake is that first marketing image. And being able to do that, one of the things that I have taken to saying is, marketing images are the photos that you're putting out in your marketing like it's business Tinder. Like you want to date your client. And so your prospective clients are trying to figure out who they want to work with. And they look and they go, oh, I think I really like that person. They and like it or not, it is how people are doing it. It is judge a book by its cover, right? So just make sure that when they get inside the book, they know what they're getting, because then they'll want to stay. They came to you for the right reason and they want to stay with you. And that matters.
Well, you've been coined the headshot queen, according to Stephanie Gear Bellafato, and Jessica Bush is also commenting about how you always capture her true creative self, and I think that is so important. And for those of you watching today, we really the intent of this is not only to tell you how wonderful Jean is, but really for you to think about the importance of this, having a really good headshot and a marketing photo for your business, for your professional career, and for anywhere else in your world, that you're putting yourself out there, and also to be.
I'm going to jump in because I want to say something. I know we're running out of time, but this is to everybody out there. And come to me, go to whoever else you do, even if you're taking your own, but even if you are. If you were a fan of Full House, and if you're too young to know what that is, go on YouTube. Full House, not Fuller House. There was an episode where Stephanie, the middle child, had to get glasses, and she was so stressed about it. And when they leave her alone in her bedroom with her new glasses, after everybody told her how great she looked, she looks in the mirror, and all she sees looking in the mirror are these huge glasses. I'm like, cute. It's all she can see. When people are looking at themselves in the mirror, or when they're looking at their photos, when they're trying to deal with their own image, especially women, but men too, man, we see that one thing that we hate the most about ourselves, and it is 5 times bigger than anybody ever said. So if you're in charge of the photo, you're trying to minimize this thing that you hate that no one else sees. Right? Mm-hmm. When someone else is walking you through that process and working with you, especially if they're aware of what all this means and how it relates to getting that great image. And when we didn't even talk about viewing the images, what we do when we view the images. But we walk through them and we talk about it, and I will have people say, well, but what about that? It's like, no, nobody sees it, sweetie. Like, getting people past that, no, that's what you see. That's not what the world sees. It's so important to understand that you are more than whatever that worst thing you think is worst about you. And being able to grab onto that and understand that has changed the lives for so many people that I've worked with. And that to me is probably more important to me than anything else. That I can really get women to sort of settle in and go, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. That is so incredibly important to me. That is more than anything else, I think, is getting yourself there. So if you're taking your own photo, you're diminishing those things you hate. Make sure that the photo that you're putting out there is really a representative of who you are, not what you think you are or you need to be or what you're fearful of.
Well, again, what I love about this discussion, and I'm so grateful that Dorothy and Gretchen could join us to help amplify it, is that, no matter how you go through everyday life, having an experience like this, really can, bring out your true essence, capture it, and share it with the world. And however those photos are utilized, it does show your authentic, genuine self and who you are at the moment. And really help market and support you and your business and your goals for yourself that you're putting out there in an important way. And how wonderful that not only do you get that end product, but hopefully with the right photographer, you also have the experience that it fills you up a little bit, fills your soul a little bit, and really helps do some healing, if you will, for some of the stuff that we do in our heads to ourselves, and helps undo some of that in the process. So I really appreciate this conversation. I appreciate Dorothy and Gretchen joining us. And Jean, as I shared with our viewers at the start, I hope everyone is following you on social media and staying connected to you. You do so many. I know the world is opening up again slowly, and I know you always do these wonderful headshot parties and different.
Hopefully August. Cross your
know,
fingers. I'm hoping for August.
we're going to get back to that, but until then, that you have created safe ways to be able to, connect with folks and still get their best selves. And they can also connect with you on your Zoomification and learn more about who you are as a person and your village, because I know you've got a big one because of the work that you do. So
I'm blessed. Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on Jean Terman Photography on Facebook. But I am blessed. It is a joy. I get to see people smile every day. How awesome is that?
It is a pretty good gig, man. I don't know.
I love my job.
So for our viewers, again, we have all of the links to Jean's website and her social media attached here so that you can connect with her. And we hope you stay connected with us throughout the week. This is just the beginning, being Monday. You can join us on Tuesday. We're going to talk with Amanda Hall from Girls with Goals and learn more about some of that goal setting that we all should be doing for ourselves. On Thursday, we'll be having another great conversation with our Share the Mic Now platform and amplifying the voices of Black women in our community. And on Friday, I'm talking to author Haley Bondi. So with that, we hope you can join us throughout the week.
Thank you for having me, Helen. I love you. You know I love you. And I adore what you do.
3 of you. I'm a big fan of all 3 of you and grateful that we've had this time together and that you all shared a little bit about your experiences here. And we wish everyone a great week. Take care. Bye, everyone.